Cars get our hearts racing, especially the classics or muscle cars. Despite our love for automobiles, though, we seem to find abandoned cars all over the world. Why are these cars abandoned, and what do we do with them? Well, from cars abandoned in barns to a Boeing abandoned on a tropical island, get your car repair kits and follow us. I'll also stay until the end to see a car abandoned in a tree. Cars in Welsh Mineshaft. Ceredigion, a region in Wales, is home to a 200-foot-deep abandoned mineshaft that boasts a jaw-dropping spectacle, a surprising trove of abandoned automobiles. This beautiful time capsule, which contains over 100 vehicles, was created by accident. After the mine shut down in the 60s, rumors had it that locals began using the pit to dump old cars as a form of community garbage. Among the ruins is an interesting assortment of makes and models of automobiles from the middle of the 20th century, spanning a number of different decades. Rust, humidity, and slow, steady deterioration due to harsh environmental conditions have over time produced a one-of-a-kind, eerily beautiful heap of discarded metal. The vehicles, some of which are barely recognizable, are now beyond restoration, and many are being swallowed up by a lake that was formed at the bottom of the pits. Despite their dilapidated condition, however, these automobiles create a fascinating yet eerie scene, forming a chart of automotive history embedded in rust and memories and serving as a strange, melancholy testament to the passage of time. That's how the story goes, anyway. Fukushima Car Graveyard. The Fukushima exclusion zone, located in the middle of Japan, has a terrifying story to tell. The area was quickly evacuated after the devastating 2011 tsunami and subsequent nuclear plant meltdown, leaving behind a surreal tableau of normalcy abruptly halted. Among the artifacts are numerous automobiles whose owners gave up and fled in desperation. They queue up in the deserted streets and parking lots, paint slowly chipping away, a rusting spectral fleet bearing witness to the devastation. Many automobiles have become overgrown with vegetation as nature reclaims the land, while others are still covered in fallout dust. As such, they stand as dystopian monuments commemorating the owner's unexpected departures. Some car keys were mysteriously left in ignitions, adding to the eerie feeling that permeates the area. Oh, the tales the automobiles could tell if they could speak. 1952 Buick Special found in barn. Let me introduce you to the gentleman in the 1952 Buick Super Riviera, a four-wheel beauty that had lain dormant in an American barn until 2017. Once a shining example of post-war automotive design, this timeless beauty languished in obscurity for decades despite its bombshell curves and gleaming chrome details. The passage of time dulled its shine, transforming the once shiny body into a canvas of rust and faded paint. But the nostalgia for the 1950s does remain. Dust and grime have settled into the once plush interiors and the upholstery is frayed, telling tales of long-forgotten road trips. Unfortunately, nobody seems to know why the vehicle was left in the barn. The straight-8 engine and Dynaflow automatic transmission are two examples of the era's built-to-last engineering glory that have miraculously survived years of disuse. It's kind of funny how something once considered useless can end up being a prized relic of the past, as well as it being kind of funny that a classic Buick Super Riviera can be somebody else's trash. 1940 Chevy Coupe found in barn. Man, what is it with us Americans abandoning beautiful cars in barns? Another case here, so put on your seatbelts because I got an exciting story to tell you about a daring rescue mission that a group of antique car enthusiasts on a road trip through northern Pennsylvania attempted. Well, actually, they intended to go and save the car, really. A classic Chevrolet coupe from the year 1940 that had been locked away in a crumbling barn since the 50s. This classic beauty was built in an era when automobiles were also considered works of art. Unfortunately, it was sent to a barn after suffering a mechanical failure and things did not look good. To make matters even worse, a tree that had fallen earlier crushed the barn's roof. People acted quickly, propping the roof with 4x4s and unintentionally cementing the vehicle into place as an integral part of the building. Moving forward through the echoes of time, this new team wrangled with recalcitrant support beams in order to free the Chevy. In the end, they did manage to, and the restoration of the car could finally start. Abandoned Volvo. An old Volvo Amazon waits patiently for its fate somewhere in the vast wilderness of northern Sweden. This sturdy fighter was once the crowning achievement of Swedish automobile tech, but by the 1990s it had been relegated to the role of parts of a car, an organ donor for its contemporaries. Its brake system and other minor components were salvaged and repurposed in another Amazon, a selfless act that left our hero to watch silently in the woods as a sentinel of a bygone era. For 3 decades, it stood exposed to the elements, its dark silhouette contrasting with the surrounding forest. The sanctuary affords life with a mossy carpet slowly encroaching over the car and rusty scars etching into the metallic skin, charting the passage of seasons. Its resolute testimony to the Volvo character is witnessed only by a forest of towering spruces and a few thousand mosquitoes. Even if it's a shadow of its former self, though, it's still a Volvo, as the commercials always say. Cars abandoned in Columbia River Gorge. The Columbia River Gorge has been hiding a secret. Bunch of cars that were dumped in the river. A dedicated towing crew and the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office decided a while back to remove the rusting automobile relics. According to local Don Nelson, at least 30 automobiles have been abandoned there, with some having been there for as long as 7 years. It appears, though, that this isn't the case of accidental ditching, but rather deliberate destruction of natural resources. These rusting wrecks are an eyesore and a source of pollution because of the toxic fluids they leak. The vehicle identification numbers and license plates of these vehicles reveal a history of theft and abandonment, and the costly removal operation has some hope of being recouped through the sale of this heap of metal for scrap. One can only wonder why someone would dump some quite beautiful and working cars like that, but I suppose if you're a criminal, you wouldn't really care about the quality. Old Car City. Old Car City is located in White County, Georgia, a sprawling love letter to the golden age of automobiles. Traverse 34 acres of land covered in the rusting dreams of 4,000 decommissioned automobiles. A collection of vehicles that tell the story of the automobile in the U.S. You can hear the roar of cars that once filled drive-in theaters and racetracks as you stroll through this auto graveyard. Vehicles that rode in the parade celebrating World War II's end, the Civil Rights Movement, and the moon landing. Envision a rusty Ford, once a family favorite, now only whispering its tales of cross-country road trips. A Cadillac, its sensuous but forgotten fins evoking the jet-age dreams. A Chevrolet, its paint peeling to reveal a painting of aging steel. Refrigerators, radios, typewriters, artifacts from a bygone era. All these and more are strewn about to provide a sense of period and help hold the narrative together. Feel the rhythm of the now quiet engines and watch as the natural world slowly takes back what was taken from it. It's no ordinary scrapyard, rather it's an afterlife auto museum containing relics from an otherwise vibrant era. Nascar Cemetery in Sweden. Visit the Swedish forest of Varmland. Here in the midst of the verdant mossy wilderness is where you'll find the Nascar Cemetery. About 1,000 abandoned automobiles from the 1940s to the 1960s form a beautiful rusting monument to the passage of time. You'll feel like you've stepped back in time as you make your way along these winding paths adorned with classics, most of which were written in Swedish or the US. It's eerily quiet here, and the rusty car corpses add to the air of mystery. You may come across a rusty Volvo PV, its once polished allure long since eroded. Then there's a classic Ford with trees growing through its long-abandoned shell, a once thundering Buick now draped with a latticework of ivy, tree limbs protrude through sunroofs, moss-covered bumpers, and mushrooms grow from dashboards. Nature stakes an unspoken claim. Basnas is much more than a simple graveyard for automobiles. It's a hauntingly beautiful synthesis of man-made materiality and unrelenting nature. Abandoned Boeing in Bali. Enjoy the tropical breeze while pondering Bali's most magnificent mystery, an abandoned Boeing. Locals and visitors alike are mystified by this particular object, which is located in a tiny plot between a picturesque beach panorama and bustling tourist boulevards. This massive Boeing 737, parked inconspicuously on bare ground next to paradise like Benoa Harbor, has become a beloved and bedazzling backdrop. It attracts many selfie-seeking tourists and a mysterious representation of aeronautical genius, kind of like a flying bird that's been brought to a startling halt. A sense of bittersweet beauty is bestowed upon the onlookers by this beguiling giant despite its disheveled appearance. The dazzling exterior, adorned in blue and white hues, has been beguilingly bedecked by Bali's balmy tropical brushstrokes, the fading blue balanced by a painterly patina of exposed metal, blistering under the baking sun. The allure of this aviation mystery has been capitalized on by enterprising types who have set up shop with vantage points overlooking the wingspan of the grounded Boeing. A mysterious and alluring ballet of human curiosity and celestial mechanics, this discarded Boeing in Bali is dwarfed only by the boundless beauty of Bali itself. Car abandoned in tree. Here we have a restoration crew, a group of car enthusiasts who defy the inevitable passage of time by resurrecting vintage automobiles. This new endeavor of theirs, though? Resurrecting a Saab from its 40-year slumber is as exciting as it is terrifying. An ethereal beauty from the bygone eras, this Saab slumbered in the heart of nature. I mean that literally, it was ensnared by the supple arms of the forest. Elegant and swift, the car is now lying silently, half-eaten by incessant vegetation. The transformation from machine to metal was almost poetic, but it's heartbreaking for the dedicated crew. This Swedish classic was in danger of being lost forever unless a rescue plan could be devised to unlock it from its frozen state. Who was the main foe here? Trees that stubbornly enclosed the vehicle, their twisted roots attesting in the passage of time. This was more than just a mechanical or physical challenge, as it required a careful balancing act between reverence for the natural world and the ruthless drive to recover human creations. Was the car worth the risky and time-consuming extraction process? Or when the tides turned in their favor, would the force be able to hold on to its prize? Future holds the answer, but we're confident they got the car out. See you all next time.